obviously the bye last week. Did you get away?
Yeah, it was nice to have a couple of days off and let everyone have a bit of a refresh and a recharge, and hopefully that'll mean we can play with a fair bit of energy on Sunday night.
We haven't been able to speak to you since the Oscar Allen saga and what it's become. How have you processed everything that's happened since we last spoke to you?
Yeah, I mean, not ideal. The public conversation and debate around it, and I mean, putting that on Oscar's plate was far from ideal and certainly not the intention. So, I mean, that's the first part of it. Hopefully it stays out of the media for now. Having said that, I think, you know, anyone entering free agency, it's the nature of the game now, and meeting with the coach of clubs that you still might stay at the club, and that happens a fair bit as well. So, you know, that's the nature of the game we're in now.
The skipper said it was a storm in the teacup. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Did you feel sorry for him how it all panned out and the scrutiny he copped over in the West?
Yes.
If your skipper James Sisley spoke to another club, would you have an issue with that?
I saw Chris Scott's comments, and he said the ideal would be if we can speak to everyone, but no one can speak to ours. So you know, I thought he said it pretty well.
Am I right in saying you just got back from Adelaide yesterday? You were in Adelaide yesterday?
Yes. I think the AFL has done a fantastic job with Gather Round, and it was one of those things at the start no one really knew how. Everyone who I know is going back, and everyone who hasn't gone has a bit of FOMO, and they all want to go. So my family are driving over. They're nearly there. They stayed in Stawell last night, and I think the half of the country ends up in Adelaide. So we had a day off yesterday, so went over to do a couple of things over there for the AFL, and you know, certainly the whole city was abuzz. No.
Do you feel he's open to joining the Hawks?
I'm not going to add any more fuel to that fire.
Speaking of fires, the power clash this week, there's been a bit of discussion about what happened last time. I spoke to Will Schofield, he said Sam Mitchell's the sort of guy who holds grudges.
Thanks, Will.
Do you tap into that for this week? Because it is what happened last time still sits pretty top of mind.
I mean, there's the on-field and the off-field. At the end of the day, they beat us in that game. They were better than us. Their season continued and they finished our season. So we know, and I've been really consistent saying we've got to improve. We have to find ways to get better. We've proven that we can improve when we work really hard on things, and there's going to be a fantastic public narrative about this game, and you know, there's going to be a hostile crowd and a huge environment, and all those things are part and parcel of the game we play, and we love that element of it. Realistically, the focus for us needs to be what happens between the sirens. Can we play a level of football that's going to be good enough to beat a side who, despite what perhaps the public narrative is, they're doing some things that are pretty good. They've gone through a little bit of change with the way they're playing, and you know, they had some personnel challenges across the start of the year, but they got Butters back last week, and you know, they're a very good side and very proud team and very proud club, and it's going to be a good game.
How's Will Day coping with the Raiders setback, and what losses he faced?
Yeah, I mean, Will's been a really important player for us. He's in better spirits than I would have thought he would be. So he had surgery, which I think gives you the feeling that I'm getting better. Sometimes if you just have to wait for an injury to recover, it's not feel like you can do anything. Whereas, you know, he's on crutches and in a moon boot, and he can tell something's healing. So he was in this morning. Actually just sledged him on the way down because he was going home. I said, "Oh, you're part-time, are you?" So he's in pretty good spirits, and he'll have a week or two of just you know, finding his feet and making sure that he can recover as well as he can, and then I'm sure he'll help me and the other coaches with making sure that he can help us off field if he can't help us on it.
How do you cover for him? He's such a dynamic player. What do you do structurally to try and cover such a big hole?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think James Worpel hopefully is available. He's got to get through some training and got a couple of little tests and things, so hopefully he'll be available today. Henry Huswaite has obviously been in fantastic form for us in the reserves, and I think at Box Hill he's been, you know, really a step above that league at this point. So there's a couple of options there, and I guess when you replace Will Day, you're not replacing it like for like. You're replacing it with something else, and you know, Will's really important for us, but hopefully we have a team and a system where we don't rely on individual players, and you know, we can plug and play someone else.
Is there early hope that Will be available towards the end of the home and away season?
I actually asked the physios that exact thing today, and they looked at me like we're actually not sure. It's really just he's had surgery only a few days ago, and they'll wait and see how it settles. There'll be ongoing sort of scans and management, and he'll start to weight bear, in probably 3 weeks, I guess. And after that, they get a bit more of an insight. But 3 to 4 months is about as accurate as they can tell me. So that's all I can tell you. I wish I had more than that.
I think there's been a bit, just with James Walker, there's been a bit of discussion about next year and beyond for his future. I know it's early in the season, but how big a piece is he for your long-term future? How keen are you in his start?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, on a personal note, I love what Warps brings to the club. I love what he's, my personal relationship with him has been quite a long time, and we've spent a lot of time together, and I'm wrapped with how he's been playing. And he had very unusual that he's been injured, because he has been so resilient, and he's such a hard worker and really important part of what we're doing. So I'm sure the list management crew will work that out. I'm not concerned about it. I'm sure it'll get done.
With Will Day out, will we be likely to see Cam Mackenzie getting some more game time? He's been averaging less than 70% game time. Will we be likely to see him getting some more time?
Yeah, I mean, I think when young midfielders play, sometimes they keep their game time a little bit lower so they can keep it. I mean, Cam he's probably our most powerful athlete. So on our statistics, he's probably got the best acceleration, deceleration profile of anyone in our side, and to produce that, you lose it if you play longer game time. So it's a bit of a challenge for us. Do we increase his game time and get a bit more exposure, or do we keep as much power in his game? So that's something we've been discussing this week, and it'll be interesting, because if Warps comes in, how much game time he plays, whereas if Warps doesn't come up, so there's still a few ifs. But I think Cam Mackenzie's form has been, probably to everyone else, it's like, oh wow, he's really kicked on. But I think to everyone who's watched him, it's sort of as expected. He's going to be a very good player for us.
You mentioned someone whose form has sort of kicked on. Finn McInnes plays game 50 for the Hawks this week. You had a lot to do with him when you were the Box Hill head coach. How nice is it to see what he's been able to do in terms of his development?
Yeah, I had a chat with him this morning. So there's 50 games, and you can play 50 like Connor McDonald, where you get drafted and you play 50 before anyone's blinked. And then there's 50 like Finn McInnes, which is, I think it's one of those really impressive stories about resilience and persistence and optimism, and just the way he's gone about his footy. And his whole attitude, the way he's changed his game over long periods of time and really refined his craft, and now become one of probably the most flexible players in the competition. So I'm really proud of him, really proud that he's able to play 50 games. He's actually the third generation of 50 gamers, which is the first time our club's ever had that. So really impressive story, and rap for him to bring up game 50.
You mentioned the theatre of gather rounds. We know just how big a game this is with everything that happened last year during the finals. The players have said that they're really looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I must admit, I enjoy gather round. I think Adelaide's a good city. You walk around, there's a vibrancy. So being there yesterday, everyone's wearing football colours. It's not just Adelaide and Port Adelaide. So if you play there at another time of the year, everyone's got one of those two sets of colours. But in Adelaide right now, everyone's wearing every colour. The whole city is footy mad, and I think the AFL's done a great job, and Adelaide itself as a city has done a great job of putting it on. And it's something that we look forward to, and bringing gather round home, I guess, as the away team against Port will be, hopefully something that we can do for a few years yet, because hopefully we can put on a good show.
But the actual clash with Port Adelaide, given everything that went on with Jack, with Ken, with Sis, the theatre of all that, are you looking forward to it?
Oh no, this is a really boring coach answer, but I don't really care about any of that. Very much my focus is between the sirens, and so part of my job is to make sure that everyone else is focused on that. I want you guys to talk about it. I want you to pump it up. I want you to make it a huge game. But I want the players to know that when the first siren goes, that's when it matters, and when the last siren finishes, between those is the only part that matters. The rest is theatre, which, it's great for the game and it's great for the people and all the fans that are here watching it, but it really is irrelevant to us as staff.
Is that the indication you've got?
Sorry, say that again?
Is that the indication you've got, say, like as well, like he's lost you?
Oh, I probably don't talk to him too much about his focus of it. I really talk to him about making sure he knows what his role is and that he can execute it. So I'm very focused on that.
Let's ask the coaching. Brad Scott said during the week about coaching fraternity being disenfranchised, and it feels like it's a really delicate time, and some current players might want to be coaches in the future, post-career. What's your take on where the coaching piece sits with the AFL and AFL HQ?
Yeah, I mean, I think I look at football departments, and I get here pretty early, and I don't beat our staff. They're all here and working enormously hard. I think the game's in great shape. The game's making a lot of financial positivity around, and I think our staff, our coaches in particular, obviously is what it's been focused on, but I look at all of our football department staff, and I think if you're running the AFL, you want the very, very best people working within the AFL, within the clubs. And to do that, you need to pay them in a way that fits with the growth of the rest of the game. And what I hope is that this creates conversations with the AFL around how we can grow and recruit the very best people. So, we've got Joel Selwood, who's walking around in our footy club this week, and he works for the AFL. But ideally, I would love to see Joel Selwood coaching, because he had a great footy mind, he had great game understanding, and we need to be able to recruit and bring the best people from our game into our game and to work at clubs to make sure that the clubs can continue to thrive with the best people possible. So I think the fact that AFL is engaging in conversations about this is a step forward and needs to happen. Cheers, Cross.